Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy, healthy start to this nice new Monday. It's a new Monday, new week of new opportunities, probably more sideways like last week on the higher term timeframes, but I did want to follow up on the short term timeframes, especially the setups that we were looking at from Friday and Saturday, just a few days past. Other than that, I want to once again humbly request that if you do find this content valuable or in some way useful, even if you hate it, please do consider hitting the herp and dirt button, as that would be nice. All right, sweet. Let's just jump right into it right now, wasting no more time. And starting off right over here, just, being aware that there is a nice little CME gap coming in from last Friday's closure at about 23,450 or so. Now, statistically speaking, gaps do get filled about 93% of the time. At least that's what studies have shown, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to happen like immediately, but do be aware of that area, because in the interim, in the very, very short term, is Bitcoin likely to bounce here? Perhaps yes. We do see some hourly bullish divergence forming right here upon closure that will confirm, although I wouldn't necessarily say that has a target of 23,450, but over here on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that I keep on clicking the wrong damn button, but we can see that Bitcoin is bouncing off the bottom side of the 50% of historical returns range lows. We're not really seeing like an explosion of volatility just yet here. So, in the interim, is it more likely to bounce than not? Probably yes. And we also do say that the median of the 4-hour is coming in, 23,350, which, by the way, when we're looking at CME, there is about $100 premium over spot price action. So that would kind of equate to 23,450. So 23,350 is kind of that same area on spot price action, so to speak. Basically, as long as Bitcoin's closing below there, on any reasonable time frame, pressure does resume to the downside. Anyways, I wanted to follow up on the hourly setup that we were looking at last Friday, Saturday. I do think that it deserves a little bit of credit over here. Now, we identified this setup on the hourly HPDR indicator, which is going to take fucking forever to load because there's like a million caretakers in the background with their calculators figuring out the ranges right now. Come on, caretaker, you can do it, man. We've done this many a time before, and there it is. Beautiful. Okay, so basically the setup is this. Closing below the blue 50% of historical returns range lows, coupled with a decline in volatility, close over closure on the moving average, which I use the BBWP indicator to measure volatility, has equated to these stats over here for the hourly. Let me just double check. Yeah, hourly right here. Which actually typically does produce a bounce. Statistically speaking, it's a little more likely, but in this case, we did meet the failure conditions, which in my opinion makes it just as valuable to know, where's sort of the next short-term downside area of interest, if you will. That was about that was about a 2.5% move to the downside from the setup given. Now, intraday, there was on Friday there was the NFT, NF whatever the fuck shit. Yes, it does matter obviously, but at the end of the day, it didn't even close above range highs. Now, personally speaking, I would kind of just mark that off as a failure. But did Bitcoin eventually meet that 2.5% target based off of the failure condition, which was closing below 23,400? Yes. It did at about 22,950. So, that's been hit now, obviously. So just following up for the people on that on Friday, Saturday. But now we can once again reference the 4-hour, which does provide a bit of an understanding of kind of where Bitcoin currently is at. So if Bitcoin does start to close below the current 50% of historical returns range lows, which is about 22,800, just below 22,800 on a 4-hour time frame, we probably are going to be looking at the next slide to the downside, probably towards the daily range lows, which the daily range lows, I believe, are at 22,300. If we can load this baby up, that would be nice. Yep, there we go. Okay, yeah, we can see about 22,300 actually, almost on the dot. So it'd be kind of like the next area of interest. But until then, very, very short-term timeframes, probably likely to bounce. The question is, does that bounce do anything of particular note? When I say anything of particular note, does it actually pop back up and close above that gap from last Friday? If it does, probably it's game on to the upside once again, or at least to the current range highs. I wouldn't necessarily call a breakout from that. Generally speaking, I do think that we're in for a week of probably sideways, if you will. But yeah, that would be kind of like the median of the range, if you will, for the medium-term timeframes. Anyways, moving on here, I did want to reference a few other things, a few other technicals that do suggest pressure is to the downside as of right now. Daily timeframe CME does have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence. Typically speaking, I would be looking for a move somewhere around the 21 here, which is that yellow moving average, which is slowly crawling its way up, about to meet the 200. So if Bitcoin does have another leg down below 22,300, if you see a break below there, any sort of a wick into this region right here, I would be looking for like a daily bounce for. And if Bitcoin is going to remain bullish, I actually really would be looking for this to kind of be the impetus for like the next higher low, if you will. So that's kind of a big one for me, especially if the 21 crosses to the upside of the 200. That's actually typically a pretty damn powerful cross. We haven't seen it in a while. I mean, the last time that the last time that it happened actually was way back on over here. This was in August of 2021 before this major rally. Now all moving averages kind of crossed the upside on that one at the same time. But, again, same thing over here. Kind of got the major momentous drive from May 2020. Yes, it was a lot of sideways after that, but it was sideways and up on that grinding. Same thing over here. Nice little push to the upside. Although not as impressive, major one over here. Of course, this was in 2019 from that run from, in this case, from cross to of about 5,600 all the way up to 14,000 almost, and so on and so forth. Anyways, my point is that if Bitcoin is indeed bullish, I really would be looking for that as kind of like the higher low. If Bitcoin starts to close below there, very likely we're going to see a much deeper retracement. But until then, I do still think that the ball is in the Bulaw's court here, so to speak. Anyways, yeah, so we've gone through that. Let's also go reference stochastic momentum, see if it kind of corroborates the story of the daily. Yeah, by the way, the 12-hour also playing out that bearish divergence that we identified from Friday's closure. So short-term, pressure to the downside. Yes, so let's go reference over here, stochastic momentum. Let's go over to CME. And where's the daily pivots? Daily pivot is currently at 23,900, almost $1,000 below there right now. So looking like at best case scenario for Bitcoin, sideways in this current range. 12-hour time frame is going to be nosediving as well below basically the same number, 23,980. 6-hour time frame also down below 23,700. 4-hour time frame is also going to be down below 23,500, and hourly is going to be flippy floppy here, showing some upside above 22,800. So maybe short term, another try for a rally again. Anywhere around CME gap would be nice. If Bitcoin fails to close above that, though, then I'd still have to be looking for at least sideways and maybe another try to the downside with the ranges over here with the relevant ranges over here as given by the HPDR indicator. Sweet. I think that probably does it for today. Nice and short and sweet. Doesn't need to be much more than this. Kind of the same analysis as Saturday. Basically, we're just slowly seeing it play out. But that's the name of the game right now. So, I think it's a good place for me to be leaving off. I want to once again shill the good old Bybit link in the description below. They got 0% on maker fees for derivative contract orders. Obviously, if you're not like an active trader, that's not very valuable. But if you are, I think it's quite valuable. So that's one of the reasons why I actually do feel cool. I feel super cool. I feel okay to talk about something like that. Anyways. As always, take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.